Stop scrolling right now because the $1 coin you think is ordinary could actually be one of the most valuable pieces of American history ever created today. We are uncovering the top US $1 coins that shocked the world with their value, coins that sold for hundreds of thousands, even millions, and changed lives overnight. These are not just dollars, they are symbols of power, rarity, mistakes, and moments when history was frozen in metal. Some were struck when the United States was still young, others were never meant to exist at all, and a few survived by pure luck, while millions disappeared. Imagine holding a single dollar that once passed through the hands of early Americans, presidents, bankers, or soldiers, and is now locked away as a national treasure. Collectors chase these coins relentlessly, auctions erupt when one appears, and museums struggle to secure them, from legendary early silver dollars to mysterious errors and ultra-rare dates. Each coin on this list has a story that feels unreal yet is completely true. Stay with me until the end, because the most valuable US $1 coin is so rare, so powerful, that even experienced collectors may never see one in real life. And once you know these stories, you will never look at a dollar the same way again. Imagine holding a piece of pure American symbolism, a coin born at the turning of the millennium, a golden-toned treasure that carries the ambition of a new generation and the legacy of centuries, all resting in the palm of your hand. The United States $1 coin of the year 2000, known around the world as the Sacagawea dollar, stands as one of the most captivating and influential modern coins ever released. And its story begins long before the first strike ever met the metal, because this is not just a coin, this is a bold national experiment, a quest to reshape American currency, and a powerful tribute to a woman whose courage changed history. Welcome to Coins, where we unlock the hidden stories buried in the metals that billions of people overlook, where every coin reveals secrets of struggle, ambition, politics, art, and identity, and where the year 2000 coin becomes more than a collectible, more than a shimmering object, more than a simple exchange piece. It becomes a time capsule that captures a nation stepping into a new millennium while honoring a guiding figure from its earliest days of exploration. As you dive into this story, you enter a world where the United States Mint embarked on one of its most ambitious missions to replace the Susan B. Anthony dollar, which had struggled to gain acceptance across the country. The Mint needed a new design, a new composition, and a new identity, one that would win the hearts of Americans from coast to coast. And they looked back into the pages of history to find a symbol of trust, strength, and guidance, and they chose Sacagawea, the Shoshone woman whose knowledge, courage, and resilience helped the Lewis and Clark expedition cross unknown lands, carve new routes, and forge new alliances, creating a path that would later shape the growth of a nation. The year 2000 coin was crafted to represent that same feeling of guidance and frontier spirit. It carried a fresh golden color, a smooth edge with infused lettering in later years, and one of the softest, most detailed portraits ever placed on American circulating coinage, the face of Sacagawea holding her infant son Jean-Baptiste, a symbol of family hope and new beginnings. And this was more than artistic design, it was a calculated decision meant to make the coin instantly recognizable from touch alone, because the Mint wanted a coin that felt unique, looked unique, and carried a striking emotional weight that echoed the courage of its inspiration. But the story of this coin goes far deeper than its design. The year 2000 coin launched one of the largest publicity campaigns in the history of U.S. coinage, powered by national ads, school education programs, and even corporate partnerships, like the famous collaboration with the Cheerios cereal brand, which distributed rare prototype coins that would later become some of the most valuable pieces in modern numismatics. And behind this massive push was a monumental challenge: convincing the American public to use dollar coins regularly in everyday life, something the nation had resisted for decades. The creation of this coin also led to revolutionary minting techniques, including advanced laser etching, enhanced sculpting, digital modeling, and carefully engineered alloys that produced the coin's distinctive golden appearance without using actual gold. The Mint wanted a coin that would hold its color through circulation, That would resist tarnish, and that would make the dollar coin feel premium even though its value remained just $1. This demand for durability and beauty gave birth to a new era of precision in coin manufacturing, an era that the Sacagawea dollar pioneered with breathtaking effect as the year 2000 rolls. Across the timeline, the world witnesses a coin that enters circulation with thunderous national attention, vending machines adapting, banks preparing, and millions of Americans curious to hold the coin that symbolized a new age. And as these coins spread, they carried stories, myths, controversies, and surprises, from the famous mule errors that paired the Sacagawea reverse with the Washington quarter obverse, to the discovery of experimental plankets that found their way out of mint facilities, to the legendary Cheerios dollars with enhanced eagle tail feathers that collectors around the world now prize as holy grails of the cerise. $2000 coin reflects politics too, because its release sparked debates about national identity, historical representation, the role of indigenous figures on American currency, and the challenge of modernizing physical money in a digital age as electronic payments rose rapidly. The mint faced the monumental task of making Americans care about a coin they did not necessarily need, and yet collectors, historians, educators, and everyday citizens found themselves drawn to the graceful, calm, defiant presence of Sacagawea, whose image carried a message that transcended monetary value, a message of guidance, resilience, and quiet, unstoppable courage. From the moment the first coin was struck to the countless varieties, minting errors, marketing campaigns, public reactions, and worldwide attention that followed, the story of the $2000 coin becomes a sweeping narrative with roots in centuries of American history and branches that stretch into the present day. It touches art, politics, economics, metallurgy, marketing, national memory, and the ongoing journey of understanding what truly represents a nation on its currency. And as the camera rolls and this documentary unfolds, you will journey through every secret, every milestone, and every twist that makes the year 2000 US $1 coin one of the most fascinating numismatic creations of the modern era. This is more than a history. This is a 2-hour deep dive into a coin that tried to change America, a coin that honors a pathfinder, a mother, a survivor, and a symbol of American exploration. This is the story of the golden dollar of the millennium, and it begins right here, right now. Imagine holding a piece of metal that carries the echo of a nation stepping boldly into a new era, a coin that was never just a dollar but a statement of progress, controversy, innovation, and change. Now picture the year 1979, a time when America was shifting gears politically, economically, and technologically, and in the middle of that transformation, the United States Mint unveiled a coin unlike anything Americans had seen before, the 1979 $1 coin known to millions as the Susan B. Anthony dollar, a coin that aimed to revolutionize everyday transactions, but instead carved a place in history through its missteps, its symbolism, and its misunderstood purpose. Today we are about to dive deep into a story packed with ambition, design battles, public outrage, numismatic surprises, and the long journey of a coin that went from national reject to a respected collectible. And you are about to hear this entire unfolding in a way that could fill a 2-hour documentary as we explore how a small metal disc became a mirror of American society in the late 20th century. To understand the $1,979 coin, we first step back into the climate of the 1970s. The United States was dealing with inflation, creeping costs, shifting labor markets, advancing technology, and a growing interest in making commerce more efficient. The Eisenhower dollar, struck from 1971 to 1978, was large, heavy, and expensive to produce. And while beloved by many, it was impractical to use in everyday life. Vending machines struggled with it, cashiers disliked the weight, and the public preferred paper notes, so the Treasury began considering a smaller, lighter $1 coin, inspired partly by successful small dollar coins in other nations, and partly by a push toward modernizing America's currency system. At that time, lawmakers and mint officials wanted a coin that represented both forward motion and national values. And so the discussion turned toward honoring Susan B. Anthony, the Fierce 19th century suffragist who had spent her entire life fighting for women's rights, equality, and representation, she became the first real woman, other than allegorical figures, to appear on circulating U.S. currency, and the 1979 $1 coin was set to become a bold symbol of changing times. The design process, however, was far from smooth. Engraver Frank Gasparo crafted Anthony's portrait with the intention of showing strength, dignity, and determination, but critics argued that the portrait was too stern, too sharp, too serious, and too similar to a living photograph instead of an artistic rendering. Meanwhile, the reverse design featuring the Apollo 11 lunar landing was borrowed from the Eisenhower dollar, symbolizing achievement, exploration, and the unending push toward the future. The coin measured just over 26 millimeters, made of copper nickel clad, and weighed significantly less than its predecessor. But this attempt at convenience created the beginning of the coin's biggest downfall. The new dollar was almost the same size as a quarter in color, texture, and weight, making it way too easy for the public to confuse the two coins. And this confusion created frustration, and frustration turned into rejection. When the $1,979 coin entered circulation on July 2, 1979, the government expected Americans to welcome the new innovation. Stores, banks, transportation agencies, and vending machine companies were prepared for what they believed would be a major shift toward coin-based transactions. The Treasury even hoped the new dollar would reduce the need for paper notes, saving millions in production costs, but the optimism evaporated quickly. Within weeks, people complained that the coin constantly got mixed with quarters and that it lacked the convenience it was designed to offer. Cashiers accidentally gave the wrong change, customers refused to accept the coin, and the public sentiment was that the new dollar was simply unnecessary. By the end of 1979, millions of coins sat unused in vaults across the country, a dramatic contrast to the excitement that had first surrounded its release. Despite the poor public reception, the story of the 1979 dollar coin does not end there, because behind the scenes, this coin had an intricate production history with multiple varieties that would later make it fascinating to collectors. The Philadelphia Mint created both wide rim and narrow rim varieties, with the wide rim 1979P becoming one of the most famous because its limited mintage and distinctive look set it apart from the rest. The San Francisco Mint produced coins in both proof and circulation strikes, including the Type 1 filled S mint mark and the Type 2 clear S mint mark, which would one day become some of the most sought-after coins for collectors. The Denver Mint also played a key role in the massive production numbers, yet despite the large mintage, the rejection remained so strong that production of the Susan B. Anthony dollar was halted after 1981, making the 1979 issues historically important as the first in a short-lived series that symbolized the clash between government innovation and public practicality. As we move deeper into the narrative, the 1979 $1 coin becomes more than just a failed experiment. It becomes a reflection of America's political and cultural landscape at the time. The decision to honor Susan B. Anthony came during a period when the push for gender equality was gaining momentum. Schools, workplaces, and public spaces were changing, expectations and representation mattered, and the Mint's bold choice to feature a pioneering woman on a circulating coin sent a message that the nation was evolving. However, the irony lies in the fact that the coin meant to celebrate progress became overshadowed by design flaws, misuse, and widespread misunderstanding. The American public was not ready to adjust its habits, and the coin that should have been a success was instead pushed aside by convenience-driven consumers who preferred paper money. Collectors today view the $1,979 coin much differently than the general public once did. With time, the coin became a subject of study, appreciation, and rediscovery. The varieties, the mint marks, the proof finishes, the errors, and the historical symbolism turned a once rejected coin into a numismatic gem, and as people revisited its story, they began recognizing the bravery in honoring Susan B. Anthony, the craftsmanship of Gasparo's design, and the complexity of the era that produced the coin. Numismatists now analyze strike sharpness, mint mark types, surface finishes, plankett quality, and dye varieties, transforming the 1979 $1 coin into a rich educational tool that helps tell America's story in a single piece of metal. As the years passed, the coin made occasional comebacks, including a temporary revival in 1999 driven by a shortage of dollar coins. Before the introduction of the Sacagawea golden dollar, even then, the $1,979 coin stood as a reminder of lessons learned in minting, design, functionality, and public acceptance, and every time one of these coins surfaced in circulation, it sparked curiosity and questions from younger generations who had never seen it before, making it a living link between past and present. Today, when you hold a 1979 $1 coin, you are not just holding a piece of change, you are holding a chapter of American history. A story of ambition, a tribute to a woman who reshaped the nation, and an artifact that captures the unpredictable relationship between innovation and the public. This coin represents what happens when a nation dreams, pushes forward, and occasionally stumbles but leaves behind something unforgettable. In the process, its legacy stretches far beyond its brief time in circulation, and its journey from hopeful creation to misunderstood failure to collectible treasure makes it one of the most compelling coins in U.S. history.
In 1976, America celebrated 200 years of freedom, a time of fireworks, patriotism, and pride that burned brighter than ever before. But while the nation was celebrating, the U.S. Mint was crafting something extraordinary, a coin unlike any other, a coin that would forever capture the spirit of that bicentennial year. The 1976 $1 Eisenhower coin is not just a piece of money, it is a living memory struck in copper and nickel, a symbol of a nation's 200-year journey, and a treasure that tells a story of power, innovation, and history that collectors around the world still chase today. In this video, we dive deep into the complete history, design, minting process, varieties, errors, and the hidden value that makes the 1976 Eisenhower dollar one of the most fascinating coins ever created. Stay tuned till the end, because what you're about to learn might change the way you look at coins forever. The story of the 1976 $1 coin begins at a moment of profound national pride and celebration. America was preparing to mark its 200th anniversary of independence, and across the country a wave of patriotism inspired artists, designers, and collectors alike. The United States Mint was no exception. In the early 1970s, the Mint had already revived the dollar coin after decades of absence, with the introduction of the Eisenhower dollar in 1971, honoring General Dwight D. Eisenhower, the World War II hero and 34th President of the United States. But as the nation approached 1976, the Mint wanted something that would stand apart, something that would not just carry the face of a president, but the very spirit of America's bicentennial celebration. The concept of a commemorative design for circulating coins was revolutionary for modern U.S. coinage. It had been nearly 2 centuries since circulating coins had featured such powerful symbolism tied to a national event. Congress approved the Bicentennial Coinage Act in 1973, allowing special reverse designs for the quarter, half-dollar, and $1 coins. This law marked a turning point in American numismatic history. For the Eisenhower dollar, the Mint held a national design competition, inviting artists to submit designs that represented the story of America's independence and its enduring strength. The winning design for the 1976 Eisenhower dollar's reverse came from Dennis R. Williams, a talented 22-year-old art student from Columbus, Ohio. His depiction of the Liberty Bell superimposed over the moon was both bold and deeply symbolic. It represented America's historic past through the Liberty Bell and its technological achievements through the lunar background, connecting the birth of freedom in 1776 with the modern triumph of space exploration. This was the era when memories of the Apollo missions were still fresh, and the choice to include the moon was a tribute to Eisenhower's role in initiating America's space program. The obverse design remained the classic profile of President Eisenhower, created by chief engraver Frank Gasparo. Together, these elements created a coin that spoke to both history and progress. Struck in 1975 and 1976, every Eisenhower dollar, bearing the dual date 1776-1976, honored 2 centuries of American liberty. No Eisenhower dollars were dated 1975, as all production during that period was dedicated to the bicentennial series. The Mint produced these coins at 3 primary facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia and Denver Mint struck circulation-quality copper-nickel-clad coins, while San Francisco issued both proof and special 40% silver collector versions. The silver issues were particularly sought after, packaged in red or blue U.S. mint boxes, and sold to collectors nationwide. The combination of copper, nickel, and silver strikes created an intriguing dynamic between affordability and collectability. From a technical perspective, the 1976 Eisenhower dollar measures 38.1 millimeters in diameter and weighs approximately 22.68 grams for the copper-nickel version. The silver-clad version weighs slightly more, at 24.59 grams. The coin's reeded edge and strong metallic composition give it a distinctive appearance and feel, setting it apart from most other circulating coins of the era. Collectors have long been fascinated by the subtle variations in the Eisenhower series, and the 1976 issue is no exception. 2 major types of reverse designs exist: Type 1 and Type 2. The Type 1 design, used early in production, features bold, blocky lettering and a less refined Liberty Bell detail. The Type 2, which came later, showcases a thinner, more elegant font and sharper overall engraving, resulting in a cleaner appearance. Type 1 is typically found on 1975 strikes, while Type 2 dominates the 1976 strikes. Collectors often seek both types for a complete set, and identifying these varieties adds another layer of intrigue to the Eisenhower dollar story. The 1976 Eisenhower dollar also stands out for its historical timing. By the mid-1970s, the United States was moving away from large circulating dollar coins. Although the Eisenhower series enjoyed modest use, its size made it inconvenient for everyday commerce. Yet during the bicentennial years, demand surged, as Americans were eager to own a piece of the celebration. People saved these coins as keepsakes, souvenirs, or gifts, meaning that many examples remain in excellent condition today, untouched by circulation. For numismatists, the value of a 1976 Eisenhower dollar depends on several factors: mint mark, strike type, metal composition, and condition. Circulated copper-nickel issues often hold only face value, but high-grade examples certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC can command significant premiums. Proof and silver issues, especially in pristine condition, are highly collectible. A perfect PR70 Deep Cameo 1976S silver dollar can sell for hundreds of dollars, while rare die varieties and errors can reach even higher prices. One of the most captivating aspects of the 1976 Eisenhower dollar is its connection to American identity. The coin bridges the revolutionary ideals of liberty and the modern ambitions of space exploration. It tells the story of a nation that began with 13 struggling colonies and evolved into a global power that reached the moon. In a single design, the Liberty Bell and lunar surface merge past and future, freedom and discovery, struggle and triumph. The public's reaction to the coin was overwhelmingly positive. Millions of Americans purchased bicentennial coin sets, and the 1976 designs became cultural icons, appearing in advertising, souvenirs, and patriotic memorabilia. Even decades later, these coins remain a nostalgic reminder of a time when the entire nation came together to celebrate its shared history. From a numismatic perspective, the Eisenhower dollar represents the last of its kind, the final large-sized dollar coin ever minted for circulation in the United States. After 1976, the mint shifted toward smaller dollar coins, beginning with the Susan B. Anthony dollar in 1979. This transition marked the end of an era. The Eisenhower dollar, and especially the 1976 bicentennial version, stands as the last great American dollar to bear such monumental weight and presence. Beyond its physical characteristics, the 1976 $1 coin has a deeper symbolic power. It embodies unity, innovation, and endurance. Every detail, from the ringing Liberty Bell to the cratered moon, tells a story of a people who fought for freedom and then reached for the stars. It serves as a reminder that progress is built on history, and that every generation adds its own chapter to the American legacy. Even today, collectors, historians, and everyday Americans continue to treasure the 1976 Eisenhower dollar. Whether preserved in proof sets, displayed in collections, or tucked away in drawers as family keepsakes, these coins hold emotional and historical value that far exceeds their denomination. They are conversation pieces, teaching tools, and cultural artifacts all in one. As we look back on the bicentennial era, the 1976 Eisenhower dollar stands as one of the most meaningful coins ever minted in the United States. It captures a unique moment when artistry, patriotism, and numismatic craftsmanship came together to produce a symbol that transcended money. It is not just metal. It is memory, identity, and pride minted into one powerful piece of history. The next time you hold one in your hand, listen closely, and you might hear the echo of the Liberty Bell, the hum of rockets from the moon landing, and the enduring heartbeat of a nation that has spent centuries pursuing freedom and excellence. That is the magic of the 1976 $1 coin, the Eisenhower bicentennial dollar, a coin that forever unites America's glorious past with its boundless future. Have you ever held a coin that captures the final chapter of an American legacy, a coin that carries the story of the end of an era and the beginning of modern change? Today we uncover the fascinating world of the 1978 Eisenhower $1 coin. The last of its kind, a piece that marked the end of America's largest circulating dollar and the transition into a new generation of coinage. This coin may seem ordinary, but behind its bold eagle design lies a story of politics, power, art, and transformation from the closing years of Dwight D. Eisenhower's legacy to the birth of the Susan B. Anthony dollar. The 1978 $1 coin stands as the final salute to a monumental era of American minting history. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why this coin isn't just metal, it's the end of a dynasty. In the year 1978, the United States Mint produced what would become one of the most historically significant coins of the modern era, the Eisenhower $1 coin, marking the end of a bold yet challenging chapter in American numismatics. This coin was not merely currency, it was a symbol of national pride representing both a farewell and a turning point in American coin design and monetary evolution. The story begins nearly a decade earlier, when the United States sought to honor the memory of President Dwight D. Eisenhower and the success of the Apollo 11 moon landing. The result was the creation of the Eisenhower dollar in 1971, a coin that was massive in size, heavy in weight, and rich in symbolism. But by 1978, the enthusiasm for circulating dollar coins had waned. People found them inconvenient to carry, banks struggled to move them, and the mint faced criticism for producing coins that the public simply didn't use yet. In that very challenge lies the historical importance of the 1978 dollar coin, because it became the last of its line, the final Eisenhower dollar, before America made the drastic switch to the smaller Susan B. Anthony coin in 1979. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar was struck at 3 locations: the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint. The Philadelphia coins bore no mint mark. The Denver coins carried a small D below Eisenhower's neck, and the San Francisco Mint produced the proof versions for collectors. Each mint contributed to the legacy of the Eisenhower dollar in its final year, yet each coin told a slightly different story, in its luster, in its finish, in its purpose. The Philadelphia and Denver issues were meant for circulation, though few actually saw the everyday use intended for them, while the San Francisco proofs stood as pristine examples of artistry, precision, and pride. The design remained the same as previous years, with the obverse featuring the powerful portrait of Dwight D. Eisenhower, created by Frank Gasparo, the chief engraver of the United States Mint. His design captured Eisenhower's calm strength and leadership qualities, his firm expression, representing the stoic courage of a man who led Allied forces to victory during World War II and later served as president during one of America's most transformative decades. The reverse continued to feature the eagle landing on the moon, a tribute to the Apollo 11 mission, a design also inspired by the Apollo 11 insignia itself, which had been famously carried into space. That combination of military honor and space-age triumph made the Eisenhower dollar one of the most patriotic coin designs in U.S. history. But by 1978, times were changing. Inflation was rising, vending machines rejected large coins, and people simply didn't want to carry such heavy dollars in their pockets. Banks stored them in vaults, casinos in Las Vegas used them heavily, but average Americans preferred paper dollars or smaller change. The mint realized something had to change, so 1978 became a year of quiet closure, the last minting before the shift to a smaller, more practical dollar coin. A decision that would change American coinage forever. During this year, the mint focused on quality control, ensuring the final Eisenhower dollars would be worthy of their legacy collectors. Today recognize the 1978 Eisenhower dollar as the farewell to the big dollar era, the last of the silverless yet substantial coins that maintain the grand tradition of American coin design. Now let's dive deeper into the minting details. The 1978 Eisenhower dollars were struck in a copper nickel-clad composition, with an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to an inner core of pure copper. The total weight was 68 grams, and the diameter measured 38.1 millimeters, making it one of the largest circulating coins in post-war America. The edge was reeded, and the total mintage between all mints reached over 25 million pieces. The Philadelphia Mint struck around 1 million, the Denver Mint around 33 million, and the San Francisco Mint produced just over 3 million proof examples. Each mint had unique die characteristics, making varieties and errors an exciting area for collectors. Among the known varieties, the most sought after are the proof coins with deep cameo contrast and the circulation strikes with sharp details and minimal marks. Although silver-clad Eisenhower dollars had been struck for collectors between 1971 and 1976, the 1978 issue was made. Only in the copper-nickel composition there were no silver proofs or special collector editions that year, which makes the 1978 Eisenhower dollar distinct as the true end of the series. It symbolizes the completion of an era that started with the patriotic pride of the 1971 launch and ended with a quiet bow to practicality in 1978. Collectors often talk about the 1978 Eisenhower dollar as a goodbye coin, the last salute to large dollar coins in American circulation before modernization took over. It carries historical weight, not just because of its design, but because of what it represents. The end of American coinage tradition. The movement from heavy to light, from bold to efficient, and from symbolic to practical. The Susan B. Anthony dollar that followed was smaller, easier to handle, but also less popular, ironically making the Eisenhower dollar more appreciated with time in terms of value. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar remains affordable in circulated condition, but high grade. Examples, especially MS-66 or MS-67, from the Denver Mint, command significant premiums in the collector market due to their scarcity and visual appeal. The San Francisco proofs, especially those with strong cameo contrast, are also highly prized by numismatists. Beyond the metal and mintage, however, lies the human story, the story of a nation trying to adapt to change while honoring its past. The Eisenhower dollar series was born in the spirit of unity, commemorating a president who embodied American leadership and a space mission that represented American ingenuity. It bridged the gap between past and future, between the heroic generation of World War II and the visionary age of space exploration. The 1978 issue, being the last of the Eisenhower dollars, stands as a silent witness to the evolution of American money, technology, and society. To fully appreciate this coin, one must understand its cultural context in the late 1970s. America was in transition socially, economically, and politically. The nation had endured Vietnam, Watergate, and a shifting global economy. Coins were changing, just as the people were. The 1978 Eisenhower dollar, with its bold size and powerful design, represented a kind of strength that America still wanted to believe in. Even as it prepared for smaller, more efficient solutions, this final Eisenhower dollar was more than a coin. It was a reflection of American identity, resilience, and pride in craftsmanship. As collectors examine the mirror-like fields of the San Francisco proofs or the bold strike of a Denver Mint piece, they're not just looking at a coin. They're holding history. They're holding the last large dollar that would ever circulate in the United States. They're holding the conclusion of a patriotic series that began with ambition and ended with quiet dignity. And in that silence, the 1978 Eisenhower dollar speaks volumes about American determination, innovation, and the respect for legacy. By the time the presses stopped striking the final Eisenhower dollars in 1978, the Mint had already begun designing the Susan B. Anthony dollar, a smaller coin meant to fit modern times. Yet the memory of the Eisenhower dollar never faded. Collectors continued to cherish its size, weight, and nostalgic value. It became a favorite among those who admired American craftsmanship and national pride. Its large canvas offered room for artistry and symbolism, unmatched by later coin designs, even today, more than 4 decades. Later, the 1978 Eisenhower dollar remains a treasured piece of American history, not only because it was the last of its kind, but because it represents the closing chapter of an era defined by courage, progress, and vision.